Hey Screen Rant fans, it's Rob here with Ryan.
Hello there.
Today we're back with another episode of Theory Battle.
If this is your first theory battle, here's the rundown. We're gonna go head to head with two different film theories. Then you guys in the comment section decide which one of them is the most likely to be true. You guys get to be like judges on a reality show, except we don't have any fancy red spinny chairs to offer you. Yet.
Today we have two super interesting theories about Avengers Infinity War. A movie so devastating that all anyone's talking about is how they're gonna manage to reverse it all.
Although I'm sure there's some MCU vacuum salesman who's pretty pleased with how things turned out. Like, wait, half of everyone turned to dust? Things are looking up for old Jimmy's Vacuum Emporium.
So everyone pretty much agrees that the people that did turn to dust in Infinity War are gonna be brought back somehow.
Yeah, I mean, are they really not gonna make a follow-up to the phenomenon that was Black Panther? Is Spider-Man Far From Home not gonna have Peter Parker in it?
Right, unless Marvel suddenly decided that they don't like money anymore, the snap's gonna get reversed somehow. But there were some other heroes that died before the snap happened.
But in true Marvel fashion, at least some of those probably won't be permanent either. That's how you end up with a movie like Infinity War where you have like 100 heroes running around. These characters rarely actually die. So today we're taking a look at theories about two Infinity War characters who died in the movie, why they may not actually be dead, and how they might make big returns in Avengers 4.
Before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button. That'll let you stay up to date with all of our new videos. Ryan, let's hear your theory.
Thank you very much, Rob. So my theory says that Gamora will come back to life.
So getting thrown off cliffs isn't fatal. That's actually really good to know.
No, I definitely still don't recommend getting thrown off of cliffs. In fact, it's probably best to avoid that altogether if you can.
Solid advice.
So yeah, anyway, in Infinity War, Gamora was probably one of the most important characters. Definitely one of the most closely connected to the overall storyline. Her adopted father, Thanos, was the one rampaging around. She was one of the ones who knew what his crazy plan was. She had a whole love thing going on with Star-Lord, and she wanted to sacrifice herself a couple times to save the day, but then Bubbles happened.
Yeah, actually, besides Thanos, she was the character with the most screen time in the entire movie.
Right, a whopping 19 minutes and 30 seconds of screen time for Gamora. That's pretty good for a movie with like 10,000 characters. Even Captain America only got like 6 minutes, mostly just to show off his beard. The point I'm trying to make is that Gamora is intricately linked to Thanos, and she's probably gonna play a key role in Avengers 4 just like she did in Avengers 3. How is that possible, you ask?
Yeah, how is that possible, I ask.
So to answer that, let's take a look at the circumstances of her so-called death. Red Skull was like, hey, if you want the stone, you gotta sacrifice something you love, soul for a soul. Them's the digs, welcome to Vormir. And Gamora was like, well, that's awesome, because Thanos doesn't love anything except working out and things that are balanced. And then Thanos was like, actually, I love you, bye.
It was slightly more emotional than that, but yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, props to Marvel for somehow making us all emotional about a big purple alien killing a little green alien while a dude with a red face watches.
Yeah, that sounds like a story a toddler would come up with, but they pretty much nailed it.
But anyway, this place Vormir combined with the Soul Stone had some weird stuff going on. You know, as soon as Thanos tossed Gamora off the cliff, it teleported him into the universe's strangest kiddie pool, and he suddenly had the stone in his hand. That is some weird magic.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying that this place and this stone have some magical stuff going on relating to souls, and they have the ability to transport a person to another place.
But Gamora was bleeding a bunch of green blood from her head. Transporting her to somewhere else wouldn't help much unless it was to the ER or something.
Well, that's definitely what Thanos saw, but maybe that was just the Soul Stone's way of making him think he had gone through with it. And even if her body did get smashed at the bottom of the cliff, that doesn't necessarily mean she's fully dead. Because riddle me this, did we see Gamora again in the movie?
I mean, kind of. She showed up as a child in that weird orange place after the snap.
The idea is that when Thanos made his big sacrifice, whether or not Gamora actually died, her soul was essentially ripped from our reality, and it got sent to this place called Soul World, where now it exists in its purest form, aka the little girl version of herself before being corrupted by Thanos.
And what is Soul World exactly? It sounds like a used record store.
That's exactly right, Rob. Gamora was sent to a used record store. Now see, Soul World in the comics is the place where souls go after they've become victims of the Soul Stone. It's actually kind of a portable dimension that exists inside the Soul Stone itself, and so after the movie came out, people were like, hey, is that orange place that Thanos goes to actually Soul World? And that was actually confirmed by the directors, the Russo brothers, just a couple of months ago. It started out as a fan theory, but they were like, yeah, no, that is the Soul Stone, and that is a spiritual representation representation of Gamora in there.
So she's a spirit now? Unless she gets a job roaming the halls at Hogwarts, I don't really see what good she'll do in Avengers 4.
Yeah, granted, being a spirit inside a rock isn't exactly the place you want to be, but like I said, Gamora is super closely tied to Thanos' story, so it would make sense for her to play a big role in Avengers 4. And unless he's just gonna keep visiting her in Soul World, she's gonna get out of there. Heading over to the comics, there's actually a precedent for Gamora being trapped in there and managing to get back into the world of the living. The tricky thing for the MCU, though, is that a character named Adam Warlock is the one who got her out of there in the comics, and he's only been mentioned once on the film side of things. The Russo brothers have said that he's not gonna be showing up in Avengers 4.
Well, they also told us Infinity War was gonna be a standalone movie, but then it ended with the world's biggest cliffhanger. Can we really trust what they tell us?
Well, maybe not, but there are also different ways they can have her get out of there. For example, if the people that got snapped show up in the Soul World too, maybe she connects with Doctor Strange. He's got some cool skills related to traveling through dimensions. Or maybe Thanos is even the one who finds a way to get her out. Basically, the idea is that Gamora kinda has to get out of the Soul Stone for there to be any character motivation for Thanos in Avengers 4. He cared about two things in Infinity War. One was erasing half of all life in the universe, and clearly he achieved that. The other thing he cared about was Gamora, and he threw her off a cliff. If they don't bring Gamora back in the next movie, you're left with the most interesting villain that Marvel has ever created becoming the most boring because he has no motivation left.
A Marvel movie with a boring villain? That's unheard of.
Yeah, that is some fair sarcasm, but Thanos was different, you know, and I don't think Marvel will let him slide into that territory. If Thanos becomes another Ronin, what's the point? I say Gamora's getting out of that orange place, and hell, Thanos might even be the one to get her out of there.
Alright Ryan, cool theory.
Why thank you, Rob. So what's your theory? Which dead character is coming back?
Well, my theory says that Loki will come back to life in Avengers 4.
He does seem pretty good at doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of his thing. So the main theory going around about Loki in Infinity War is that he faked his own death again, but the theory I'm presenting is kind of different.
Wait, how are people saying he faked his death this time?
Well, it's a pretty cool theory at the surface level, actually. See, someone on Reddit pointed out that Loki is right-handed, but when he attacked Thanos, he did it with his left hand. When was another time we saw Loki attack with his left hand? When he faked his death in Thor: The Dark World.
So Loki would have attacked Thanos using a mirror version of himself again?
That's the idea, but it kind of falls apart if you look at it more closely. See, in the Dark World fight scene, we see Loki switch the dagger into his other hand, so his default was still the right hand. And actually in Thor Ragnarok, we see that he's totally fine with using both hands to fight.
It also feels like it'd be kind of lazy for the writers to pull the fake death thing again with Loki. Like, this isn't a greatest hits album, you know? We want to see some new stuff happen.
Well, it's kind of funny you should say that, because this theory actually does revisit one of Loki's greatest hits. See, we know that Avengers 4 is revisiting the Battle of New York via time travel somehow. There are set photos of some of the Avengers in their original costumes, also Ant-Man is there, and Tony's got a new hairdo. But people are wondering why exactly the heroes are heading back to that moment in time.
Maybe just a stroll down memory lane. Like, remember when I punched that alien in the stomach? Good times.
Well, according to this theory, they're actually heading back there to get their hands on Loki himself.
But the Avengers did get their hands on Loki at the end of that movie.
Yeah, well, the past versions of the Avengers did, and that was more of a hey, stop attacking our planet kind of capture. The time-traveling Avengers from the future need him for something even more important. Check out these outfits of agents escorting Loki in the Avengers. Now check out this set photo of Tony Stark. He's wearing the same thing as they are, which suggests that maybe he's going undercover to intercept Loki from his past self.
So we're gonna have both an older Tony Stark and a younger Tony Stark running around in Avengers 4?
Right, and how cool would it be to see Tony trying to out-Tony himself?
Actually pretty cool now that you mention it.
And if you think about it, it makes sense that Loki would be the person they would go to once they figure out how to time travel. Even though he's a trickster, he's shown that he also has the potential to be good. So by getting their hands on Loki, they're getting their hands on a guy with a direct line to Thanos.
So they're gonna convince Loki to help them?
Exactly. Like, hey, this guy's gonna kill you, so maybe help us stop him. Then they'll get him to head over to Thanos and spout some lies or something, maybe something with a fake Tesseract, anything to tip the odds in their favor.
Also, I guess Loki's self-preservation instincts would kick in.
Exactly. If a time-traveling Tony Stark shows up in front of you like, hey, I'm from the future and yeah, you're gonna die in a couple years, you're probably gonna divert all your attention towards not dying in a couple years.
Definitely a priority shifter.
The cherry on top of this theory is this set photo. That's Tom Hiddleston on the set of Avengers 4 wearing the exact same clothes he did in the first Avengers movie. So the Avengers aren't just going back to talk to their past selves, Loki is definitely involved somehow. And it's hard to believe that Loki would just allow himself to be killed in a few years. He's for sure gonna find a way to prevent it from happening.
Alright, now let's do a quick recap so you guys at home can decide which of these two theories is the most plausible. My theory says that Gamora wasn't entirely killed in Avengers Infinity War. Her soul is trapped in Soul World. She's too important to Thanos' story to stay there permanently, so in Avengers 4 she's gonna return to the world of the living.
And my theory says that the Avengers will go back in time and intercept Loki in New York. In Avengers 4, he'll help them by going undercover and deceiving Thanos, and that'll give them an advantage and a path to victory. And then he's gonna find a way to save save his own butt because he's Loki.
So now it's time to turn this over to you guys in the YouTube comment section. Which of these two theories is the most likely to be true? Is Gamora gonna manage to get out of the Soul Stone in Avengers 4? Or is Loki gonna prevent his impending death thanks to a tip from some time-traveling Avengers? Let us know your thoughts. Also, let us know if you think they both really are permanently dead. That's entirely possible too. If this was the first episode of Theory Battle you've seen, definitely do check out our earlier episodes too. Just recently we did one trying to figure out where Captain Marvel has been in the MCU this entire time. One of us was saying that she's in the quantum realm, and the other that she's been on Earth secretly fighting a Skrull invasion. It's a fun time, and if you like fun times, check it out. And if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more of them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.